All right, last couple questions here. So these ones are all solving using the quadratic formula. So first thing, you got to make sure it's in standard form. It's equal to 0. So this first one is equal to 0, so we're good. So we're going to just find our a, b, and c. A is 3, b is -10, and c is 6. And then set it up using that quadratic formula. So x equals the opposite of b, so it's going to be +10, plus or minus the square root of 10 squared, and it's negative there, and then minus 4 times a times c. So I guess at the start, just to make it more clear, it's going to be the negative of -10. That's how it becomes +10. And so it's all over 2 times a, so 2 times 3. So if you want the formula, I guess I should write that too. X equals -b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac, and that's all over 2a. And so from this point, you just want to simplify this as much as you can. So from here, I'm going to move this over. On the outside, we'll have, well, +10 like I had earlier. -10 squared, so -10 times -10, I'll get +100. And then 4 times 3 times 6, you will get 72. So you could use a calculator to solve those. But here, this is what you get, and it's all over 6. So keep going, just simplify until you can't anymore. You'll get 10 plus or minus the square root. This is going to give you 28, and then over 6. So here, you want to make sure everything's simplified. If I could factor out 28 and see what I could get, I know that's 4 and 7. And 4 is a perfect square, so I could factor out, or could square root the 4, or the 2 times 2. So from here, I'm going to write it down here. You should get 10 plus or minus. We'll square root. We'll get 2 on the outside. What did we not square root? The 7. And so we have this here, and we could simplify. So check if you could divide. Here we have 10 divided by 6, and then here we have 2 square root 7 divided by 6. So I'm going to write this now as, well, 10 divided by 6 as a fraction. The lowest we could change those numbers is 5 over 3. And then with the 2 and 6, I could also divide them by 2. So you'll get 1 and then square root 7 over 3. So I'm just going to rewrite it as this, since it's both being divided by 3. And I'm going to get rid of that 1 there. This is going to be our final answer. X is equal to this as our solutions. All right. We're going to try our next one here. So again, it says solve using the quadratic formula. Here, take a look. It's not quite equal to 0, so I'm going to make it equal to 0. In order to do this, I'll have to add 6 to both sides. So over here, I'm going to write it so I have enough space. I'll have 2x squared minus 8x, and then plus 6 equals 0. So what I'm going to do is just find my a, b, and c. So a is 2, b is -8, c is 6. All right, and then set up that quadratic formula. So x equals, here I'm going to skip a couple steps. So the negative of -8 is going to be +8, plus or minus the square root. Here, if you know what -8 squared is, you would get 64. But I'll do the work here. -8 squared. And then it's minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So 2 times 2. So here you could put 4 right away if you would like. So just keep going. I'll have 8 plus or minus the square root. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll get 64. 4 times 2 times 6, so that's 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 6 is going to be 48. And then 2 times 2 is 4. All right. As I mentioned earlier, keep going until you can't anymore. 64 minus 48, that's going to be just 6. No, not just 6. Let me think. $16. Okay, there we go. I had to double check. So 16 here, and then over 4. And can I simplify anything? The square root of 16, you might know that one. It's going to be 4. So we have our plus or minus 4 all over 4. And so the way I do this, I would just add them and subtract. So I'm going to do 8 plus 4 over 4, and then 8 minus 4 over 4, and those are going to be my two answers. So I'll get 12 over 4, which is 3, and I'll get 4 over 4, which is just 1. So our final solutions, sorry that I changed colors. Our final solutions are going to be x is equal to 1 and 3. All right, last one. So here, solve using the quadratic formula one last time. So take a look. It's not in standard form. Hopefully you recognize that. So what I can do is I'm going to make this 13x become 0 by subtracting 13x. And so I can't combine any of these because these are x squares. I'm subtracting x's. Those are numbers. So they're all going to stay separate. So 2x squared minus 13x and then plus 10 is equal to 0, which is what we wanted. All right, and so here, find your a, b, and c. A is 2, b is negative 13, c is 10. All right, and then set up that quadratic formula. So negative b, so opposite of negative 13 is positive 13, plus or minus negative 13 all squared, minus 4 times 2 times 10, all over 2 times 2. All right, and then just keep going, simplify until you can't anymore. If you don't know what 13 squared is, you get 169. 4 times 2 times 10, you get 80. And then 2 times 2 is 4. So here what you get is 13 plus or minus the square root. Did I do that right? Minus 80. Yep. Okay, you get 89. And then it's over 4. And again, double check if you can square root 89. So 89, I don't know any factors for 89, but you could test them out. But in the end, you won't be able to find any. So here we could just check to see if we could divide, make our fractions a little simpler. 13 over 4, well, similar to 89, I can't simplify this any further, so I'm actually just going to leave it as is. And then there's nothing I could divide here because these are radicals. Those are integers. There's no value in front. So our final answer is just this whole thing. So here is our answer. I'm going to write it as one final statement. Kind of cheating here. You probably can't do this on your paper. But this is our final answer here. X is going to be equal to 13 plus or minus square root of 89 all over 4. All right, so you've reached the end of the study guide. So hopefully you're ready for the final. If not, just make sure you keep studying. Try the problems over on your own. Watch the videos again if you need to. But thanks for watching.